You don't need proof to feel it. You walk in, she looks at you, she even smiles, but something in the atmosphere is off, like the room itself is quietly rejecting the moment, like an invisible shift just happened and you're the only one aware of it. That subtle drop in warmth, that strange emotional distance that no words can explain, that's not imagination, that's perception operating at a level most people ignore. Your instincts are not random feelings. They are a built-in detection system, sharpened over time, designed to notice patterns your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. And when that internal alarm starts whispering that something isn't right, it's rarely because nothing is happening. It's usually because something has already changed beneath the surface. When a woman has recently given her attention, her energy, or her intimacy elsewhere, there are shifts that happen. Small, almost unnoticeable on the surface, but powerful enough to disrupt the emotional rhythm between you. It's not about catching her in the act. It's about recognizing the difference between who she was with you before and who she is now. The eye contact feels slightly forced, the presence feels thinner. The connection that used to feel natural now feels like it requires effort, like there's a layer between you that wasn't there before. And what makes this even more dangerous is how easy it is to ignore it. To tell yourself you're overthinking, to rationalize it as stress, mood swings, or just a phase. But that quiet discomfort in your chest, that feeling that she's physically there but emotionally somewhere else, doesn't come from nowhere. It's a signal. And most men silence that signal because they don't want to confront what it might mean. But the truth doesn't disappear just because it's uncomfortable. It waits, and it reveals itself through patterns, through behavior, through presence. What you're about to understand goes beyond guesswork or assumptions. It's about identifying the real, observable shifts that happen when someone is no longer fully aligned with you. Because when a person starts living in two emotional realities at once, it always leaks. It shows up in how they move, how they respond, how they connect, and more importantly, how they disconnect. If you've been sensing that something is off but haven't been able to explain it, then you need to pay close attention to what comes next, because we're about to break down the most telling physical and behavioral signs that reveal when someone's energy has shifted away from you, and why trusting your awareness in moments like this isn't weakness. It's the difference between staying grounded in reality or being the last one to see what's already changed. Betrayal makes noise, IT shakes everything, but real rebuilding happens in silence, far from attention, far from applause, where discipline is forged without witnesses. If you're the man putting in that unseen work, carrying the weight without announcing it, then this is where you operate from. This isn't about hype or empty motivation. It's about precision, standards, and high-level discipline applied daily. Most men will hear this, agree with it, feel a spark for a moment, and go right back to the same patterns. That's not who this is for. This is for the man who is done asking, "Why did this happen?" and is now focused on, "What do I do next?" The man who is ready to execute, adjust, and elevate without needing validation. If that's you, subscribe and step into a space that values quiet strength over loud talk, structure over emotion, and growth over excuses. Drop a comment, not to impress anyone, but to mark your presence. Because showing up with intent is where power begins. And power is something you claim, not something you wait for. The first sign that something has shifted in the biological architecture of your relationship is what we call the oxytocin overload. It's a terrifyingly simple reality. When a human being experiences deep intimacy, their brain is flooded with a chemical afterglow that creates a temporary state of emotional detachment from everyone else. If she walks through the door and she seems unnaturally calm, almost like she's floating in a bubble of peace that you didn't help build, that is a massive red flag. Most men mistake this for her having a good day at work, but the psychological reality is that she's experiencing a chemical hangover from another source. She isn't arguing with you, she isn't nagging you, and she isn't even looking for your attention. She is satisfied in a way that feels foreign to your shared history. This quiet satisfaction is the body's way of broadcasting that the need has already been met elsewhere. Then there is the sensory rejection. We've all seen the data on how physical touch works as a bonding agent. But when a woman has recently been with someone else, her body enters a state of tactile defensiveness. If you reach out to touch her waist or brush her hair, and she flinches or adjusts her position within a microsecond, that isn't just a bad mood. That is her skin memory reacting. Psychologically, her body is still occupied by the imprint of another man, and your touch feels like an invasion. She might try to hide it with a quick, "I'm just tired," or "I'm a bit sore." But the sovereign man knows the difference between fatigue and rejection. Her body is literally guarding the ghost of a moment you weren't a part of. Let's look at the tragedy of Dominic. Dominic was a man who lived by the philosophy of the benefit of the doubt. He was the nice guy who thought that trust meant blindness. When his girlfriend, Vanessa, started coming home late, Dominic didn't look at her eyes. He looked at her excuses. He noticed that every time she came back from her girls' night, she would immediately head for the shower, refusing to even let him hug her. She smelled like a brand of soap they didn't own, and her skin was flushed in a way that didn't match the story of sitting in a loud bar. Dominic is the loser in our story because he chose comfortable ignorance over uncomfortable truth. He noticed the micro-flinch every time he tried to get close, but he told himself he was being insecure. He even started buying her flowers and apologizing for being needy because he could feel her drifting. He thought that if he poured more love into the broken cup, it would eventually hold water. But Vanessa didn't see Dominic's kindness as a reason to stop. She saw it as a safety net. She realized that Dominic was so afraid of the truth that he would actually help her hide it. Dominic spent 6 months financing his own heartbreak, ignoring the body language of betrayal, until he literally walked in on the reality he had been denying. He lost his time, his self-respect, and his identity because he refused to believe that the body never lies, even when the tongue is a professional poet. He proved that a man who ignores the physical signals of his own gut is a man who is co-authoring his own destruction. The third sign is the sudden grooming shift. Psychologists have long noted that when a person starts a new intimate chapter, their physical presentation goes through a resurgence. If she's suddenly wearing lace on a random Tuesday, or if she's meticulous about parts of her grooming that she used to ignore, the target of that grooming has changed. Most men think, "Oh, she's just feeling better about herself." But the sovereign man asks, who is the audience for this performance? If she isn't looking for your approval of her new look, it's because she's already received the standing ovation from someone else. It's a biological display meant for the new mate, and you're just a backstage viewer who isn't supposed to notice the costume change. Then we have the eye contact evasion. They say the eyes are the window to the soul, but in the world of betrayal, the eyes are the leak in the dam. When a person has recently done something that violates the contract of the relationship, the shame circuit in the brain makes sustained, deep eye contact almost physically painful. If she's talking to you but her eyes are scanning the room, checking her phone, or fixing her jewelry, she is trying to disconnect the emotional bridge. She cannot look at you because she's terrified you'll see the reflection of her secret. A woman who is clean in her spirit will lock in with you. A woman who is carrying a shadow will flicker. The final sign for this section is the hypervigilant phone grip. While this isn't a body part, the way she holds her device becomes an extension of her nervous system. If she's recently been with someone, that phone is the tether to the high. You'll notice her hand tension, the way she keeps the screen face down, or the way her thumbs move with a frantic speed the moment you leave the room. Her body is in a state of digital defense. She isn't just checking a text. She is protecting a perimeter. Her posture will shift whenever you walk by, a subtle hunching of the shoulders to hide the viewing angle. This physical shielding is a direct outward manifestation of the emotional shielding she has built around her new secret. The reality is that the body is a truth teller in a world of liars. You don't need a private investigator when you have eyes and an unclouded mind. Behavioral patterns don't just happen. They are reactions to internal realities. If the spirit has strayed, the body will always report the theft. You are the leader. You are the observer. If the vessel you are captaining feels unstable, it's because there is water in the hold. Do not be the man who adjusts the sails, while the ship is sinking. You are a sovereign man, and a sovereign man knows that the most expensive thing you can own is a blindfold you bought for yourself. Average men negotiate with excuses. Disciplined men negotiate with outcomes. One hides behind reasons, the other measures progress. If you're the man who shows up when nobody's watching, who puts in work when there's no applause, no validation, no external pressure, just standards, then you're exactly where you need to be. This isn't for spectators who nod, feel motivated for a moment, and disappear back into comfort. That's the pattern of the masses. If you're serious about elevation, make it visible, subscribe to lock in your standard, drop a comment to mark the first day of a different approach. No hype, no empty noise, no pretending. Just structure, discipline, and execution. Either you rise into it or you step out of the way. Now pay attention, because this is where subtle behavior starts revealing louder truths. The next undeniable shift shows up in something most people overlook: scent. Every relationship develops a kind of familiarity, a natural baseline, a way two people recognize each other beyond words. It's not something you consciously think about, but it's there. And when that baseline suddenly changes, it doesn't go unnoticed, at least not by your instincts. You might start picking up on small differences. She's using more fragrance than usual, applying it in a way that feels intentional rather than natural, or she's suddenly very particular about when and how she freshens up, almost like there's urgency behind it. It's not about hygiene, it's about timing, intensity, and pattern shifts. When someone becomes overly focused on masking or resetting their physical state at unusual moments, it can signal an attempt to control perception rather than simply maintain cleanliness. Your awareness picks up on this before your logic tries to explain it away. When something that used to feel familiar suddenly feels manufactured, that contrast matters. And then there's the emotional shift that often comes with it. Tension where there used to be ease. You might notice a sharper tone in her voice, less patience in her responses, a quicker jump to irritation over things that never used to matter. Small conversations turn into unnecessary disagreements. Light moments lose their playfulness, and interactions start to feel guarded instead of open. This kind of behavior doesn't come out of nowhere. Psychological patterns show that when someone is internally unsettled, it often expresses itself outwardly as defensiveness or misplaced frustration. Instead of addressing what's actually going on beneath the surface, the energy gets redirected. Conflict becomes a buffer. Distance becomes a shield. If there's constant friction, there's less room for closeness, less opportunity for deeper connection, and that distance can serve as protection from being truly seen. So when kindness is met with irritation, when calm conversations are met with resistance, and when normal interactions suddenly feel like walking on edge, don't ignore that shift. It doesn't automatically mean the worst, but it does mean something has changed. And disciplined awareness means you don't dismiss patterns just because they're uncomfortable to confront. Let's look at the ascension of Callum. Callum was a man who trusted his senses more than his sentiments. When his wife, Juliana, returned from a weekend retreat, Callum didn't listen to her stories about the spa and the workshops. He looked at her movement. He noticed a fluidity in her walk and a glow that didn't match the stress she claimed to be under. But most importantly, he noticed the distance of the soul. When she kissed him, her lips were static. There was no pulse, no reach. She was physically present, but energetically absent. Callum is the winner in our story because he utilized the law of dispassionate observation. He didn't accuse her in the hallway. He didn't check her bags. He simply withdrew his energy. He watched how she fumbled with her phone and how she couldn't maintain a gaze for more than 2 seconds. Callum realized that the truth doesn't need to be chased. It just needs to be witnessed. He spent the next 48 hours quietly securing his peace, preparing for the final conversation not as a victim, but as a judge. Callum won because he stayed sovereign. When the evidence finally caught up to the body language, Callum wasn't shocked. He was ready. He told Juliana, "Your body told me the truth on Saturday. I was just waiting for your mouth to catch up. The contract is over." Callum won because he realized that a man's intuition is a gift from his ancestors, and to ignore it is to insult his own blood. He moved forward with his dignity intact because he didn't wait for her to gaslight him into insanity. He stayed sovereign because he realized that the only thing more tragic than being betrayed is being betrayed and apologizing for noticing the blood. He didn't lose a partner, he gained a life. The fifth and final sign is the narrative overcorrection. While this happens through speech, it is a body sign of nervous system overload. When a person is clean, their body is relaxed because they have nothing to manage. But when a woman has a secret, her posture becomes rigid as she tries to explain her day with too much detail. She is acting like a person with nothing to hide, but the over-explanation is a stress response. Her hands might fidget, her feet might point toward the door, and her voice might go up a half octave. She is performing the role of the faithful partner, but she's overacting. The sovereign man understands that truth is simple, but lies require a script. Furthermore, we must address the sovereignty of the self-trust. Behavioral observations suggest that the gaslighting only works if you value her opinion more than your own perception. The second you trust your eyes more than her lies, the power dynamic shifts. You are the observer. You are the final authority on what you see in your own kingdom. If the atmosphere has changed, it's because the reality has shifted. The final realization is that the body never lies because the body cannot plan. Her tongue can spend hours crafting a story, but her pupils, her poor response, and her heart rate are slave to the truth. If you feel like something is wrong, it's because something is wrong. You are the source. You are the standard. The reality is that a man who ignores the red flags of the body is signing the death warrant of his own mental health. Behavioral data shows that denial is the most expensive drug on earth. It costs you your time, your confidence, and your future. You are the power. If the truth is written on her skin, stop reading the caption she's providing. I have a smart question for the men who have the sovereign fortitude to finish this analysis on the body's betrayal. If you were guarding a border and you saw movement in the shadows, and the thermal scan showed heat, but the radio told you everything was clear, would you trust the radio or would you trust the heat? You are the border. Your intuition is the thermal scan. The cheater is the radio. Stop listening to the static. Drop a comment below and tell the Brotherhood. What was the one physical shift you noticed? The smell of her hair, the way she flinched at your touch, or the dead look in her eyes that told you it was over before a single word was spoken? How did you feel the moment you stopped believing the words and started believing the body? Share your moment of sovereign clarity. Your trust in yourself might be the permission a brother needs to stop the gaslighting and start the rebuild. Let's build the Council of Sovereign Men together. If you're still watching, you didn't just hear this, you felt it. That tells me you're done with the noise and ready for the signal. Men who choose this path don't have to walk it in the dark. Subscribe to stand in the ranks with US. Drop a comment and tell me exactly what hit home. I pay attention to the men who speak up. Stay disciplined. Hold the line. Do the work. I'll see you next time.